Segment 2, Gold and Black Live. Thanks to Triple X and State Farm agent Trent Johnson. I am joined by colleague Tom Dienhart. And he has had a very busy few weeks here with football recruiting, the end of the football season. Tom, Ryan Walters on Wednesday met the media and talked about his recruiting class in about a 20-minute press conference. I want to get your initial impressions. Just, we haven't had a chance to really be around him in a public setting since he was announced. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to get what you thought with respect to, how he handled himself in the press conference, and also maybe a little bit about that recruiting class that he brought in for 2023.
Yeah, I thought he handled himself well, Alan. Like you said, we haven't seen him much in a public setting after the press conference on December 13th. He's good in front of an audience. He always seems at ease, Alan. And just it's not like he's delivering a speech. He's got a casualness about him. Yeah. A conversational style. How about that?
Yeah.
Even when he's sitting on the dais or at a press conference. So again, I think he handles himself well. And as far as the recruiting class goes, I think Purdue did as well as you could expect given the circumstances, right? I mean, he comes in officially hired December 13th. Already a bunch of players were committed that didn't commit to him, right? Sure, there was some attrition. That was to be expected, but he ended up signing, I think, 12 guys in December. And he wouldn't finish there, Alan. Even though there was a small window from that December signing period to February 1st, basically a month, right? Still went out there and tried to find more 2023 guys, while he was also recruiting for 2024. And you get the sense they seem pretty pleased with the guys they were able to get in the 2023 class, Alan. 4 high school kids overall. They wanted guys who were almost multiple position guys, and they got 3 in particular that fit that bill. The Ahmad Branch kid from Missouri, Derek Rogers from Florida, and Mondrell Dean from West Virginia are guys that kind of just athletes now. They're going to try to figure out which side of the ball they're going to play on in the future. And they signed a junior college offensive tackle. I think they're pleased with him, Alan. I think he's obviously going to slide right into the depth chart, maybe be the 4th tackle at this point. And I think of note too, Alan, they got George Byrne, right? The kid who committed to Jeff Brom way back in July, tight end from Mount Vernon, Indiana. He didn't sign in December, Alan. Yeah. He was going to wait and see what was going to happen. And Purdue, and Ryan Walters talked about this on Wednesday. He had to go back and resell this kid. And he convinced them to re-up with Purdue, and he signed on Wednesday. So a big 6'5", about 215-pound tight end, is a great track athlete. So he's coming aboard as well. So those are sort of the prep guys they got. And obviously, don't forget about the transfer from Stanford, Salim Turner Muhammad, a kid who's got at least 2 years of eligibility, Alan. Smart kid, big buddy of Sanusi Canes. They kind of grew up and trained together out in New York. And I suspect he's going to come in and probably start right away at cornerback. So I think they did a good job bringing in some of these guys late to really augment the 12 that they signed way back in December.
You have that opportunity, and it is such a moving target. Not many guys not many Stanford transfers anywhere. And when you get a guy that has been out there, and he also talked about obviously Hudson Card and the fact that was important to set the tone to get that quarterback. He called him the best quarterback in the transfer portal. But that certainly got some people's attention that you were able to get him secured and had some effect with the rest of that class, but also for that 2024 group, just because it tells you you mean business, so to speak.
Yeah, they sort of took yesterday as a chance to, I guess, formally announce those 4 other transfers.
Yeah,
that came aboard in, I guess, January. Hudson Card came in December, but the other guys came in January. The 2 kids from Arkansas, the safety Anthony Brown, the defensive end Isaiah Nichols, and they got the interior offensive lineman from Bowling Green, Jalen Grant. So they kind of formally announced those guys yesterday too. They said they had a 10-man class. where 5 were transfers and 5 were high school kids. So yeah, Hudson Card, you're right. Coach Walters talked about Hudson Card on Wednesday. His first real public comments on Hudson Card, as you noted. So yeah, everything you hear about the kid, he's certainly talented. He's going to be a dual threat guy. Has some starting experience in Austin, Texas, played on a big stage, obviously. He's not going to shy away from the spotlight. And a guy you got to think, Alan, they're going to try to build this offense around. So we'll get our first look at Hudson Card this spring. And again, guys, to remember, spring practice probably going to start the week of March 20th, the week after Purdue spring break is what it's looking like right now. So a little later than usual. So not sure what type of access we're going to get or the public will get. Hopefully we'll get wide open access, but that's TBD. But anyway, Hudson Card, yes, that was Ryan Walters' first order of business. I think the moment he got the job, one of the first things he did, Alan, I know one of the first things he did was get on a plane and go see Hudson Card.
Yeah. Infrastructure, organization, all of those storylines. He's making kind of assembling his team, not just the assistant coaching staff, but everything else that's around the program, strength coach, medical staff, et cetera, things that he would like to control, so to speak. How do you assess that situation? Of course, new strength coach coming in as well. Yeah, that's a big part of what Ryan Walters wants to be a part of.
Yeah, Kiro Small. I spoke to him this week. We met over at the Kozich Performance Complex. He walked me around. I interviewed him. I'll have a story on him in a week or so, but a great guy, Alan. Call him Coach Rowe, he said. I'm Coach Rowe.
Yeah.
He's about 5'8", maybe.
Yeah.
5'9". He's a brutal fullback at Arkansas, and he's got clips on YouTube. Somebody posted them on our message board. If you want to see him in action, they threw him the ball. They show him blasting guys backwards and carrying the ball, kind of a bowling ball. And then he was drafted by the Seahawks. He played in the NFL for a little bit with the Cleveland Browns, with the Ravens. So anyway, just a great personality. I think a guy that the players are going to like to work with. I talked to Eric Miller today too, Alan, the offensive tackle for Purdue, to get his perspective on Coach Small, what it's been like working with him, et cetera, et cetera. So again, as you can imagine, they've all enjoyed it so far. They're working out about 5 days a week right now. And I know when I talked to Coach Walters in Florida during the bowl game, he said he wanted a good 8 weeks of strength and conditioning before they got to spring football. And that's sort of where the team's at right now, is training, getting their bodies in shape. And Alan, they're also starting to do some install too of the offense and defense, dribs and drabs here. So they'll be able to hit the ground running when spring ball does kick off here in about a month and a half or so. So they got full wheels going right now, as you can imagine. The good news for Coach Walters and the staff is they're finally off the road, Alan.
Yeah.
Anybody who's been following on social media knows they've been out and about across America offering 2024 recruits. Now we've entered what's called, I think, a quiet period right now. So everybody's off the road. The guys are back in the building, and now they can sort of get to know the personnel a little bit more. Coach Walters even talked about that now, where now he's back more anchored in West Lafayette, can connect even more with his new players.
Yeah, it's certainly, he was made that clear on Wednesday that he was looking forward to being a coach, being the coaching part of it, not just the recruiting side of it. And it was very, very clear that he's looking forward to installing what he's about, working with his staff and trying to put together not only a program, but an identity. I think both offensive and defensively, all coaches want to do that from the get-go. All right, one other thing that'll be happening Friday, probably around the time of this show, is contractual stuff. We don't know all the things we'd understood. We'll see if our sources were correct that Ryan Walters was going to be at about a $4 million a year contract with some escalators. Whether you'll get all that information today as you head to the Board of Trustees meeting, but interesting from that standpoint in terms of getting that done, getting that announced. It kind of lays the table, sets the table of what's out there. It's not, these guys are how much you get in terms of assistant coaches' salaries, I don't know, but it is an interesting part of this entire thing. We understand also that Ryan Walters put a lot of money in that assistant coach pool, almost $5.5, $6 million. So again, all things that's going to take to be able to operate this program at the level that Purdue hopes it will be to be competitive in the Big Ten.
Yeah, you're right. Board of Trustees meeting Friday morning. Lot on their agenda.
Yeah.
What interests us again is the compensation committee, Alan.
Yeah.
That's who's going to, I guess, rubber stamp this contract for Ryan Walters. And yeah, we'll hopefully expect, I guess, to get at least a look at that deal in some way, shape, or form, to get some general parameters. Hopefully we can report something on what that deal looks like. And like you said, probably a $4 million range for Ryan Walters would seem like a compensation for a first-time head coach. Salary pool will be interesting, Alan. Again, you're only as good as the people around you, right?
Yeah.
What difference does it make if you make a fortune and the people around you, aren't compensated well and can't help you do your job? I mean, sometimes you're better off. You see these quarterbacks in the NFL take less money so the team can spend money on players to surround them with.
Yeah.
I'm a guy, Alan, that, not to get off on a tangent, but I want good people around me. I'll take $2 million. Let's get a good staff. Let's get everything in place so we can all succeed. Doesn't do any good. $2 million is enough money, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress. So we'll find out some compensation. The assistant coaches, Alan, I'm told right now, are working with at-will. They're at-will employees, how it's been described to me. I don't think contracts have been signed yet for the assistant coaches, so we don't know what their salaries are at this point. So yeah, that's out there too. Just kind of fun minutia and detail, I think. I always like to find out about, and I'm sure a lot of the viewers enjoy that kind of stuff too.
It's the off season. It's the time to do that stuff. And you're right. Now the norm in assistant coach contracts anymore is at least a couple of years. It didn't used to be that way.
Yeah.
It tends to be that way now. And that will be
that's gonna be interesting. 2-year deals, Alan. And just keep this in mind too. I think a lot of what's going on here to bring this program to a higher level from a structure standpoint is being driven by Tiffany Grimes.
Yeah.
Who's obviously been on the job about what, Alan, 6 months or so?
Yeah, if that. Yeah.
Fort Wayne native, a Purdue graduate who really cut her teeth working at Alabama for the last 6 years before returning to her alma mater. And I think, she came up here for a reason. And I think we're seeing her fingerprints on a lot of what's going to be going on to make this a top-notch football program.
No doubt. She was integrally involved in the hiring of Ryan Walters. We talked about last week with the guest Mike Berghoff, talking about the three that were in the interview room with Mike Babinski, Tiffany Grimes, Mike Berghoff, when they interviewed Ryan Walters at the Mount Comfort Airport when that all went down back in December. So always good stuff, Tom. We appreciate everything. Lots of recruiting on the site as well. And it's never a dull moment, as they say in college football, and it will be that way even in February or in March. Obviously, let's talk about it.
One last real quick note. I mean, this is going to be airing on Friday, but Thursday night we will have had Aiden O'Connell in the Shrine Bowl. Yeah. Saturday we got a couple guys in the Senior Bowl. Purdue does. Payne Durham and Corey Trice, and look forward in February, Alan. 4 Boilermakers going to be in the NFL Combine. So a lot of Boilermakers looking to take that leap to the next level here. It's going to be kind of fun for fans to watch that as well the next month or so.
Yeah, guys that we've been watching for a long time in West Lafayette. It'll be really good to see how they fare. All right, we'll take a short break. Be back with Chad Brown, who will talk about winning and wellness, something that Tom and I probably could stand to know more about that. And really interesting because he's worked a lot with Matt Painter about behavior and trying to get to know your players and your kids that you're in your program and how they mesh with coaches, etc. Be very interesting to hear what Chad has to say. So stay tuned. We'll be back in 2 minutes on Gold and Black Live.